But when's the best time to start your art business, to actually formally register your business as an entity? That's what I'm going to talk to you about today. So my name is Tim Packer. If you don't know me already, I've had a very successful 22-year career as an artist. I've sold a lot of paintings. I've lived a very, very good life off the sale of my art. And I've made it my mission now. I want to change other people's lives. I want to help aspiring artists achieve their dreams. And that's the whole purpose of this channel. So what's the best time to actually start your art business? Well, pretty much regardless of whatever else you have going on, the best time is now. And if you do it now, you're actually going to get several benefits. It's going to make a difference in your life. So first of all, it's actually going to make you start taking your art more serious, and it's going to make people take you more serious. But more importantly, it's actually going to save you money. It's going to allow you to keep a little bit more of your money and give the government a little bit less of your money. So why is now the best time to start your business? Well, part of it has to do with, again, just you're taking yourself seriously, that taking that first step and taking yourself seriously, that's often important on that journey. The longest journey, begins with one step. And all successful people have one thing in common, and that is that they all started. And most of us get caught up in the one day syndrome. One day I'm going to kind of paint more regularly. One day I'm going to start my own business. One day I'm going to really focus on living the life that I was meant to live. And the thing is, there's never a good time. Even when it's a good time, something invariably happens that means, oh, you know what, this isn't really a good time. So the only time that we have control over is now. You can't control what happened last week or last year. You can't control what's going to happen in tomorrow, a week, 3 weeks. You can control now. So now is the best time to actually start your art business, just from kind of a philosophical standpoint. But it's also the best time if you are selling your paintings at all right now, or if you were even thinking that you were going to want to start selling your paintings this year, next year, very shortly, you're going to start putting your work out there for sale, then it's very important that you register your business now for financial reasons. Now, I'm not an accountant. So first of all, I want to say, when I'm talking about this stuff, this is the law as it applies in Canada. I can talk about my experience. So please don't go and do something, and if you get in trouble because it's slightly different where you are, don't come to me and say, oh, but you said, like, I can only talk about what it's like here in Canada. And the law here in Canada is that when you form your own business, you can actually operate it at a loss. And if you have other income, you can claim that loss as a deduction against your income tax. So the last couple of years that I was on the Toronto Police Service, when I was getting serious about my art, but I was getting ready to leave, and I knew I was going to be leaving to pursue my art full time. I had about $5,000 in earnings from my art, but I had about $8,000 in expenses. And that meant that I actually got to deduct $3,000 off my earnings. Now, you don't get that $3,000 back, but it means you don't pay income tax on that $3,000. And so that's like taking $3,000 and putting it in your RSP. It has the same, you don't have it sitting there waiting for you, but it has the same effect on reducing your income. And if you're in a, fairly high tax bracket, which I was, I think, I don't know what I paid, probably 30% or whatever. Well, 30% on $3,000 is $900. That's $900 that I got to keep that the government didn't get. Now, there are a few things that you have to show over a period of time, that there's a reasonable expectation that the business might make money. And might is a is the important word there. So first of all, don't do this as a scam. If you have no intention of actually creating art and trying to sell art, then you just want to use this as kind of to scam the government out of, so you want to buy a bunch of equipment for other stuff and say it's an art business, you're going to get yourself in trouble, and you might even find yourself charged. But if you legitimately are trying or thinking about trying to sell your work, the sooner you register your business, the better, because the government knows that most businesses are going to fail. So they're willing to take that risk and allow you to claim that deduction because they want people to try. Like when I first started my business, I had no idea that it would get to where it is now. I've generated over $2.5 million in earnings in the last 20 years off of the sale of my art. And so if you think about how much tax has that earned, and a lot of those earnings where I was only getting 50%, the gallery was getting just as much. So they were charging 13% harmonized sales tax on all of those sales. Not only that, I had to pay income tax on all of my earnings. And I also have 2 employees. My son works for me full-time. My wife works for me part-time. And so their earnings got taxed too. So the government knows that they don't have to win every time, but they just need a small percentage of small businesses to succeed. And that's going to make it worthwhile. So they're not going to come after you if in 4 or 5 years, it's like, gee, you still haven't made a profit. They may just come to you and say, well, you know what? We've decided that at least for right now, this is more of a hobby. They're not going to come after you for the money that you've already claimed. They're just going to say, we're not going to allow you to claim this anymore. So again, I can't stress enough that if you are thinking about selling your work, then register now, because you are almost certainly not going to make a profit at the beginning. You're going to make a profit if you are down the road. So now is the best time to kind of get some money back, especially if you're a situation like me where you actually have a job that's generating a reasonable amount of money and you're paying significant taxes on it. Then you can deduct those expenses for your art business. Well, what kind of expenses are there? Well, a camera. If you need a camera to actually take photos to work from, you need a camera to take photos of your paintings. You need an iPhone, right? You need your iPhone, especially if you're using your iPhone to say you're shooting video, you're doing social media, all that kind of thing. That's part of your business. All of your art supplies, all of those are business expenses. A percentage of your house. If your studio is in your house, you figure out what percentage of your house do you use for your actual business. You can deduct your household expenses on that. And in some places, I'm not sure, I don't think we can do it up here, but I think in the US, you actually get to deduct the interest on your mortgage, like the percentage. So if your studio is 15% of your house, you might be able to deduct 15% of the interest on your mortgage, but you can deduct a percentage of your phone bill, your internet bill, your household insurance. You can deduct a percentage of your vehicle expenses. If you keep a mileage log, whatever percentage of your vehicle mileage is used for your business, you can deduct that from your income. And it can add up fairly quickly. And the other thing that's important to realize is that for major capital expenses, so like if you spend $5,000 on a new computer or $1,000, $1,500 on a new camera, often you can't just claim that as one expense. You claim the depreciation. So, and I think, I'm not 100% sure here, so don't quote me on the numbers, but I think it's like you get to claim 50% each year. So if it's a $1,000 camera, you claim $500 this year. $250 the next year, $125 the next year. So again, if you're thinking about buying a new camera now, but you're not thinking about maybe selling your art for 6 or 8 months, if you buy that camera before you start your art business, that's not a legitimate expense. It's only from the time that you actually start or register your business. As far as I know, don't quote me on the details of this stuff, do all your own research, but I do know that the benefits can be very, very good of starting your own business and keeping a little bit more money in your pocket. Now you might be thinking, oh, but this is probably some huge elaborate process. I'm going to have to get a lawyer. It's going to be very expensive and I'm not going to get my money back. Again, I can only speak from my experience here in Canada, but registering your own business is very, very easy to do. So in Ontario, it costs you $60 to do it online. You go to the Ministry of Government and Consumer Services. You just put in your business name. They'll do a search to make sure that that business name isn't taken. You put in all your particulars, you fill out the form, and you register your business. It's done. Your business is registered. From that moment on, again, you are an operating business. You can start claiming expenses. Now, you're also going to have to look at, do I need to start charging taxes or other things like that? So in Canada, you don't have to actually charge any sales tax until you reach the threshold of $30,000 in sales in a given 12-month period. So up until you're making $30,000 a year, you don't even have to charge sales tax. Now, you do have to charge income tax if you make a profit. But as I said, it's very likely in the first few years, especially if you're doing it full-time, that it's going to run at a loss. And you can use that to kind of offset your income from your primary source of income. Now, one thing that is really important is picking a name, because once you pick that name, it's going to be with you a long time, unless you decide down the road, this was a horrible name and you want to change it. So you don't want to make that mistake. You want to really think, give a little bit of thought about what name you should pick. And I have some really strong ideas and beliefs about how I think you should name your business. Now, before I get to that, though, I've got some actually really valuable free training aids that I'd like to tell you about. So most of you know that I am a huge proponent of composition. The way in which we arrange the shapes, colors, values, edges on our page is the most important thing in any painting. And I believe it is the thing that most artists know the least about. So if you want to improve the quality of your paintings, the best way to do that, to get a big bang for your buck, is to start improving your compositions. And in particular, what you don't want to do is make fatal bad decisions at the beginning of the painting process that just dooms it to failure. So I've got a free PDF in which I've outlined what I believe are 10 of the most common compositional weaknesses that I see over and over and over again from artists. I do a lot of critiquing of the people in my my Hungry Artist community that take my course. And literally for the first year, all I was doing was just picking up major compositional errors that people were making. So I've actually seen a huge improvement in the composition of my students. And when they submit them for critiques, we're no longer talking about the big bad decisions. We're talking about minor things that can take a good painting to its next level. So if you want that free PDF, you can go to www.timpackerartacademy.com. You scroll to the bottom of the page, put in your name and your email, and I will send you that PDF. You will also, I believe, you'll get a series of emails. You'll get the opportunity to watch my module on the 10 common compositional weaknesses for free. And then you'll get an opportunity to purchase the course at a crazy price, I think for like $39 or something. And literally this course will have a huge impact on your work. We've had over 500 people take the course so far this year, and the comments are just like over the moon about how much people have found it improving their work. And for those of you who are really serious that you want to have the kind of life that I've had, you want to be able to go into your studio every day, you want to be able to create the work that you love, and you want the world to reward you with a very good living for doing that, I've put together a webinar that you can take for free. And it's going to give you a little bit of the history of me, how I went from a starving artist to giving up on the dream, joining the Toronto Police Force, doing that for 18 years. And then at 40 years of age, crossing my fingers, taking the leap, quit my job, cashed in my pension with 2 little kids at home, and thought, I'm going to give this one more shot. And how I ended up actually creating a very successful career. You'll also get a little bit of the story of Brooke Cormier. That's a young artist that I mentored about 5 years ago. She was just a friend of the family who decided she wanted to pursue art after taking a totally different university degree. So I agreed to mentor her, and she's gone on to achieve in about 4 or 5 years what's taken me the last 21. Her work actually sells for the same as mine now. And that was one of the things that actually really motivated me to decide that, you know what, I don't really care if I paint another picture, but I really want to change other people's lives. And I really want to help other aspiring artists achieve their dreams. I was able to do it with Brooke. So I thought, I'm going to try and do it at scale. So you can watch that webinar for free by going to www www.aspiringartist.ca. You'll need to put in your name and your email, and the webinar starts every 15 minutes, and it's about an hour and 15 minutes. So that's going to tell you all the stuff I said, plus the 10 keys to selling your work. And also, just so you know, this is not about sales. Most of the keys in at the beginning, at least half of them, they're more about your work and about what you need to do to develop work that is going to reach out and grab people, what skills you need to develop, what concepts you need to develop, how to continually grow as an artist. And then once you've done that, how to actually earn a decent living, then how to scale that into 6 figures and beyond. So if that's something that interests you, I really encourage you to take advantage of that and take that free webinar. Okay, so you've decided you're going to register your business. Now you need to come up with a name. I cannot stress strongly enough that I believe your name should be in the company name somewhere. My business name is Tim Packer Fine Arts, because if you become successful, and that's what we all want to do here, you and your work are a brand. If you have your company name something like Blue Willow Studio or something, or the Mill Pond Gallery or something like that, if you end up becoming very well known and your work becomes very well known, people will not be able to associate you with your business. And so I really, really think your name should be part of the business. So you could be your name Fine Arts, your name Studio. Again, there's all kinds of different things you could do, but I think your name should be part of it. Now, before you actually register it, so first of all, you need to check on the government site to see if that name has already been taken or if it's available. But even that's not enough. What I would also do is I would go on social media. So I would go on Instagram, I would go on Facebook, I would go on LinkedIn, I would go on YouTube, and I would search that name on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and see if that is available as a username. Because ideally what you want is you want all of your kind of your social media, your company name, all of your stuff to have the same corporate identity. And so again, Tim Packer Fine Arts, that's my YouTube channel, that's my Facebook, that's my Instagram, that's my LinkedIn, that's my TikTok. So that I have actually achieved a certain bit of notoriety. People recognize my work. They go, oh, that's a Tim Packer. If they know what work and they follow me, they recognize me. And then if they see anything that's put out by any of my social media, if they get an email from me or they go to my website, it's all Tim Packer Fine Arts. So again, we all hope that at some point we're going to achieve a certain degree of success. When that happens, as I said, you are a brand. You want that branding to be consistent, and you want people to see that and think of you and think of your work. And once you've decided on the name, I would actually go in and actually open accounts on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube in that name. Even if you're not posting right now, it doesn't cost you anything to register as a user, but just so that you've got that set aside, so that when you decide to start taking advantage of those, someone else hasn't come in and taken that. Because you'd be amazed sometimes there's several artists and even several well-known artists with the same basic name. So you don't want to go and register your business and find someone else with the same name as you has registered your name, Fine Arts, on all of social media. So in closing, just want to say the only time you control is now. And I really encourage you now, today, to register your business. Do the research, come up with names, search them out, see if it's available, search the social media, and then register your business. That is going to be that first step in you starting to treat yourself and your art seriously. It also makes other people treat you seriously. When they ask you, who should I make the check out to, for those that still pay checks, and actually quite a few people do, you say Tim Packer Fine Arts. You don't just say Tim Packer, right? It's like, oh, you have your own business. You're serious. And don't be concerned about the fact, well, I don't know if I'm going to make any money. The government knows that most small business owners that start a business are going to fail. But they don't care about that because it's over 40% of the GDP in North America is created by small business owners. So they don't care if over the course of the next 3 or 4 years, as long as you are legitimately trying to sell your work and as long as your expenses are legitimate, they're willing to eat the $3,000, $4,000, $2,000 a year that you don't pay in income tax on the odd chance that you might succeed like me and generate over $500,000 in income to the government as tax revenue. As I said, when I started out, I thought this was just going to be a side hustle that I would do for the next 20 years until I retired, which would have been right now. What ended up happening is it kind of took over my life and went way, way bigger than I ever thought it would. So I hope you found this helpful. And don't forget, if you want to get the PDF on color and composition, go to www.timpackerartacademy.com. And if you want to watch the free webinar, go to www.aspiringartist.ca. And I'm going to put links down in the description. And if you want me to keep creating content like this, you can give me a like, you can subscribe, you can give me a thumbs up. My goal over the next year is to really kind of double down on content. Plan on putting a new YouTube video out every week. And I'm actually getting really active on social media. And I'm going to start doing a lot of live broadcasts. I mean, hopefully I'm going to start this week because there's no time like now. So I will see you next time. And just remember, if you never chase your dreams, you're certainly never going to catch one.